Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest episode of Tales from Outer Space, taken from the subreddit HFY. The links to all the stories will be down below, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. And if you do, please consider subscribing. Story number 1. Humans Train Them Young. Written by AntiMoneySquandering. I had never seen a human before I agreed to this assignment. I'd done some research, of course, looked up the data files and bioprints we had in the galactic libraries. There wasn't a great deal, something I attributed to their incredibly new introduction to the Galactic Council. Meeting them now, I could see I was wrong. They were just really dull. Bipedal mammalian aliens, they were very drab to look at, very bland. I was surrounded by I quickly looked up the collective noun for them, and even that was boring. Group of humans, and most of the exciting colors was one of red sheen and the soft spines on their heads. My own spine stood proud and extended, a vivid violet against the number of creatures gathered around me, making odd breathy noises that my translator couldn't fathom. One particularly brave mammal stretched out a finger as if to touch one, and I allowed my spines to lie flat, so I quickly extended once more, causing them to squeal and run off. A larger human approached me, standing a good few feet above me. I looked up, craning my eye stalks, and I returned his respectful blink greeting. At least they had manners. "Welcome, Diplomat Ben Lion. I must confess, we were surprised that someone wished to observe here, but, alas, we are very new to the ways of the galactic community. As you can see, even just having a spinotech here is very exciting." I felt my spines lift off the human's mumbling words were translated, and I shook myself lest I allowed flattery to get in the way of my mission. "Thank you for facilitating this. I don't want to get in your way, so simply proceed, and I will observe." The human nodded, something I had learned was akin to a rattling of your spines, and clapped for his forelimbs loudly, summoning a horde of smaller mammals. They jostled in position in the front of him, and I could not tell but notice their desperate size. The one that had spoken to me towered over them. The others were not much larger than myself, perhaps 2 eye stalks difference. Sexual dimorphism, I pondered. Tying to my query into the console I held, my spines raised slightly in surprise as it informed me that the crowd of humans in front were actually prepubescent, not yet at the full adult form. I hastily added the information to my notes. Titled Human VR Military Training. It seems bizarre to me that the species would have their young begin military training at such a young age. The humans ran off to the wall on the corner that housed various technological implements. As they did so, the adult rejoined me, baring its teeth in what was meant to be a friendly gesture. I shrugged off my discomfort. It was hard for a predator species to forget that practice. "These humans, are they younglings?" I began, waiting for my translator to turn the melodic squeaks and snuffles into that horrible bass mash of the sound that the humans used. "Does that not affect them later in life?" The human made a loud staccato sound that caused my spines to raise in surprise. They kept their smile on their face, however, so I assumed that it was benign. "They're all 10 years or older. We don't allow anyone younger to take part here, and their parents all have to agree. They grow up faster and faster these days. You have to keep up with them." I rattled my spines and added my notes. According to the database, this would put the humans at a well-developed period indeed. I bared my gums in a frown as I tried in the last comment. "Humans are growing at an exponential rate. Further research required." The younglings had returned to the center of the room, and the area covered by a soft, plump substance. They all held weapons in their hands, crude imitations of human plasma weaponry that we had seen at their induction. The humans pointed them at each other and pretended to fire, making the same noise in adulthood with their comrades' feigned pain or death. To my surprise, the adult mimicked them. the noise emanating from him far deeper, and finally my translator recorded it as an expression of joy. I bared my gums once more. They seemed to find happiness in imagined cruelty or warfare, even at a young age. The adult moved amongst the younglings, positioning them on the floor in some sort of pattern. Once satisfied, he stepped back and rounded headsets descended from the low ceiling. The humans eagerly clipped onto their heads, the black bending in with the mesh jumpsuits that I wore. The adult led me off to the corner, filled with monitors. So the kids are ready to go. Their suits picked up on their motions and the full virtual reality experience. A small shock is administered at a touch, or if they are shot. A shock, I said, typing furiously on my pad. The human shook its soft head spines. It's nothing really, more an add to the realism. It won't hurt. We do have games for all the players where it can give you quite a punch. Increasing levels of training difficulty, with added pain induces at higher level. The human turned and gestured to the monitors with 5 appendage limbs, all of which were black currently. So basically, we'll be able to see what they see through their eyes, as it were. Ideally, I'd like to have you actually out there in the game, but given the different physiology, it's not feasible. Their back was still to me, so did not see my signs flare up in panic at their suggestion that I would take part in the military exercise. I managed to flatten them down and lower my eye stalks before he turned around. So they selected a popular level, Escape from Dreadtown. It's more of a supernatural theme featuring a human staple, zombies. I typed down into my pad, frowning at the last word uttered, as it failed to completely translate. Given context, I assumed that it was a cultural creation of the species. I raised my eye stalks as the screen flickered into life, and I saw through the no-stalked eyes of the younglings. They were in what appeared to be a human settlement, one not too different from where I was currently resided. That meant that in true human fashion, the buildings were mainly dull grey to brown, to the odd textured ground in that blackish grey. They all appeared to be something wrong, however, as there were no signs of life other than the younglings. All dressed in something approaching military fatigues, I felt my unease rise. A sudden burst of noise drew my attention, and I glanced to the lower monitor, where a youngling was firing their weapon wildly. They seemed to hit their target, the humanoid figure that dropped to the floor. The youngling stopped and made their odd laughing sound when another one yelled over from cover behind the abandoned vehicle, covered in rust. "Head! You need to aim for the head!" I was surprised to hear ones this young being well versed in combat already that would be yelling tips and advice to their comrades. The one who had yelled jumped out of the cover and ran to the other, who had turned their own gun back to the fallen enemy. I felt my spines lengthen to the maximum, and a high-pitched squeal escaped me unbidden as the scream suddenly filled with a rising humanoid that I thought deceased. It appeared human, albeit one suffering from horrific wasting disease, its skin sloughing off like a dry lead scales in their full maturity. The younglings fired together, and his sickening head exploded in a wave of viscera and gore. A deep red and black that splattered over the screen. I dropped my pad and held my paws to my mouth as I struggled to keep my feet down. The younglings on the screen snapped their appendages together and laughed again, as the monitors filled with more gunfire and violent images of dismembered bodies. I failed my task. Half-digested ceratechy grubs pooling from the floor. The human turned at this and held its own hand to its mouth at the sight of me wrenching of the remnants of my gut. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You may have a reaction to our screens." He stepped past me and opened the door, which I hastily escaped through. Into the cool darkness, I licked down my chest and face, cleaning myself as best as I could. The human returned, handing me a discarded tablet. "Please stay out here for as long as you need. The birthday party will be over before too long." End of story. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing. If you wish to support the author, there is a link to the original story, so pop over there and give him your support. If you wish to support this channel, however, there are a few ways to do so. The best and easiest would be to share this video with other people, as well as liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. All of these things tell the algorithm that this channel is at least vaguely interesting, and that may share it with other people. If you wish to support the channel in some other manner, watching my other videos would also help tremendously. Or, if you really like, there is a link down below to leave a tip or to join the Patreon. Any and all support is very much appreciated. And I hope that you all have a good one until the next time, and I'll see you then. Cheers.